And it's just basketball. At the end of the day, it's just basketball.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe on the way in the door, my people. I hope you all are having a truly, truly fantastic day today. Welcome back to Fanboy Fridays. Fanboys, we truly hope your day is going truly terrible. So Dan Lebron was confronted by his co-host, basically upset at the fact that Dan Lebron had the gall to mention LeBron James and PEDs in the same sentence, and basically trying to call him out, saying this is irresponsible because of who he is, and that you shouldn't even bring it up for someone who doesn't have a history of it. But I would argue there's so much circumstantial evidence around it. It should be hard not to bring it up. And this is what we're going to talk about. But before we get into this, let's check out this clip.
Clearly, I was building up to this point. Dan, you can speculate how, it's a wonder that PEDs aren't more prevalent in basketball the way we know it is in football and baseball. What you cannot do, unequivocally, is put someone's name on it who does not have any history of it. I get what you're saying, but Dan, you got to remember, you're not Fran Batard or Dan Leibowitz. You're Dan Batard. There's a 20 under that. This show has been on the air for 20 years. You've been in the media for longer than that. When you even ask questions of that variety, you are creating something / giving voice or gas to something, no matter how unfounded it is. So you cannot say, well, Chael Sonnen said it. If Chael had just said it, if it had just come out, he was this week's guest on Andrew Schultz's show, then maybe that's an opening.
A newsworthy lane? You're talking about timeliness? It's a timeliness question where I can ask questions in. We're gonna agree on this part, right? We're living in the skeptical age, right? The age of skepticism. And so if I just make it hypothetical athlete X, I don't even make it LeBron and everything you know. I simply say to you, what do you think is more likely? That an athlete would try and defy age through science at the end of his career, or that one athlete had a career that defied the limits of the human body, unlike any we've ever seen in terms of mileage and how his body holds up for 20 straight years. I'm assuming did Kareem have more minutes? I'm assuming LeBron James has played more minutes than anyone else. Which do you think is more likely?
I think.
So we're going to hold up there. First of all, let me address the fact that he said, what's more likely, that an athlete would try to prolong his career at the end by, engaging in such activities? I would argue that this has not been taking place just at the end of LeBron James' career. Now, but before we get into this, fanboys, I'm going to give you guys some ammunition. I'm going to give you guys some ammunition to use to defend your king against these allegations. Because normally, I feel like the time that these allegations matter most in careers is when the person is doing something truly extraordinary. And while people may be praising LeBron James for this so-called longevity, fanboys, here's some points you can use against the allegations. Well, first of all, I would say if LeBron James is on PEDs, why did he stop playing defense? If my king is on PEDs, how come he had to stop playing defense to prolong his career? Fanboys, this is a good question. This is an argument in favor of saying LeBron James is not on PEDs. Here's another one for you fanboys. If my king is on PEDs, why did he only play 82 games in 22 years? Why did he only play 82 game season one time in 22 years if he's on PEDs? Fanboys, there's another one for you. Write these down now. I'm handing them out. I'm handing out some great potential excuses for your king not being on PEDs. If my king is on PEDs and is such a big, strong, Herculean athlete, why does he flop? Why does he flop and get knocked over from the breeze, from the wind? Why is this possible? He can't be on PEDs. And last but not least, fanboys, here you go. If my king is on PEDs, how could he possibly have lost 6 finals? There you go, fanboys. Don't ever say I didn't give you anything. Don't ever say that you didn't get anything on my channel. There you go. I just gave you more excuses for your king. But anyway, now let's get back to reality. Here's the fact of the matter. Is you got Chael Sonnen. You got Kevin Garnett, who said he's on his new juice. You got the whole ledger thing where several people associated with LeBron James, including his wife, was on this ledger, but somehow no investigation into LeBron James. That makes absolutely no sense. And so for people who want to say that LeBron James, he's just the most scrutinized athlete ever, he has had to deal with so much pressure, I got a question for you. Why hasn't LeBron James had to even address these allegations at all? Because people chime in, but if my memory serves correct, anytime these allegations have come up for athletes in the past, they've had to come out and address it. And it doesn't necessarily have to be PED allegations we're talking about, or steroid use. It can just be anything that is major, a major cause for concern. Athletes have to come out and address it, whether you're talking about Barry Bonds or Jose Canseco, even if you want to switch it up and talk about the gambling allegations for Michael Jordan. You know, Michael Jordan had to get on the microphone and address this. Even if you're talking about the allegations that somehow the death of his father was related to the gambling, he addressed this in public. And here's the question. For someone who just confronted Stephen A. Smith about not talking about Bronny, which again, we all found out that this was a lie because LeBron James was really upset that Stephen A. Smith questioned him as a father. It wasn't about Bronny. So while he's out there talking about stop effing with my son, the conversation between him and Richard Jefferson exposed that LeBron James was actually mad that Stephen A. questioned him as a father. So for someone who's so willing to jump out and address so many things, a couple of things he hasn't touched on that it should be cause for concern. One is the PED allegations, and the other is the Diddy parties. I mean, you would think that just for one moment, first of all, you would think that someone would have put him on the spot by now. Someone who had shoved a microphone in his face would say, LeBron James, could you please address these PED allegations? You would think that would have happened. But again, this is another sign that LeBron James is actually one of the most protected athletes in history, not one of the most scrutinized. I feel like, again, back in the Jordan days, back in the 90s period, you would see athletes caught off guard all the time with questions that they weren't expecting to be asked. But you could rest assured some reporter was going to ask that question. But somehow nobody shoving a microphone in LeBron James' face says, hey, can you give us a comment on these PED allegations? You know, Kevin Garnett says you on the new juice. This guy, Chael Sonnen, and because you have, unlike this guy's trying to say, because you have a history of people who you associate with being definitively found to be involved, but somehow you're not. Could you address these allegations? But somehow this doesn't happen to LeBron James. Somehow he never has to address that. Now, to be fair, LeBron James also has a reputation as a liar. So even if he comes out and says, "Oh, well, I just want to address these PED allegations," there is no way that I would ever do something like that, because I wouldn't disrespect the game like that. The day I felt the need to try to take some PEDs, that would be the day that I retire from the NBA. Just like when I said the day I cheat the game, I will retire. So, neither one of those two things have taken place. That's why I'm still playing. Defense, huh? Why would you ask me that question? Why would you ask me about defense? But anyway, even if LeBron James came out and made a statement and addressed it and said that he unequivocally was not doing PEDs, doesn't know what they are, doesn't even know that they exist, because LeBron James has such a reputation as a liar, there's definitely a segment of the population, including myself, who wouldn't believe it. But, in keeping with the standards of what previous athletes had to go through, and we all know that this is the biggest reason why LeBron James will not get the respect that he deserves, is because he's not going by the standards that previous athletes had to go through. You would think that LeBron James would have had to come out, that somebody would have had suggested, hey, LeBron James, come out and make a statement about this. And so, I'm not really sure what much more to say, but I will say this, LeBron James fanboys, and for you fanboys who've been following my channel for quite some time, you've heard this many times over. And I'm going to remind you again that I keep trying to warn you that as LeBron James nears the end of his career, and when he finally retires, and for years after he retires, more and more things will come out about this guy. And, heaven forbid he really pisses off a former teammate, really pisses him off to the point to where he feels vindictive toward LeBron. And then, we might actually get confirmation from somebody who played with LeBron James that, oh yeah, man, LeBron did that all the time, man. LeBron James been doing that since Miami. But like I said, we're hearing more and more people get a little more unfiltered about LeBron James. Again, just did the video on Dwight Howard. And like I said, what was most interesting about the video to me is that, him and Mario Chalmers was talking about calling LeBron James a B. But the funny thing was that Mario Chalmers already knew what prompted him to say that before Dwight Howard even said it. Said, oh, it was on defense, huh? This is a bad look for your king, fanboys. Man, I tell you what, man, we really try to warn you guys over here, but you'll have to deal with it sooner or later. But anyway, we're gonna hold up here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. What do you think about Dan Lebatard's co-host trying to reprimand him for even bringing up LeBron James and PEDs in the same sentence. Said, hey, you shouldn't even do that for a guy who has no history of it. And again, like I said, to me, there's enough circumstantial evidence that this should have been addressed a long time ago. But the protected king, the manufactured king, doesn't have to live by the same standards as previous NBA players, previous athletes in general. The protected king, the so-called most scrutinized player in the history of the game, is actually the most protected. Because like I said, why hasn't one of these so-called journalists put him on the spot? Like they would do any other athlete in previous decades. Any other athlete that something like that was circulating around about this guy, they would just put him on the spot right there. But not the duck. But hey, fanboys, don't forget that I gave you guys some reasons to defend your king against the allegations, though. These are really good reasons. How could someone on PEDs not play defense? How could they only play one 82-game season in 22 years? How could they be a flopper? And how could they have lost 6 finals? That's some good reasons to try to defend your king, even though those in the know, it won't do any good for me, but you can convince some people with those points. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. You all have a truly fantastic day, and I'll see you next time. All right.